Today I'm going to play WOT 2025, a game about territorial defense force, a fifth branch of Polish armed force formed in 2017 as a light infantry bound to the certain areas of Poland, and its goal is to secure their own area, to prepare defense and to slow down the possible enemy advance. And in this video I'm going to play a lake scenario, which is the second scenario for this game, and it covers a situation in the area that can be somehow compared to the northeastern part of Poland. And in this scenario we have a company of the Polish light infantry supported by the company of the mechanized infantry and special forces, and their goal is to slow down possible Russian advance. And Russians at the beginning of the scenario have 2 mechanized battalions, 2 special forces units. There is much more units to come later. Of course, Russians will have numerical advantage, but NATO is about to send some reinforcements as well. Polish army is about to support us as well. So nothing is sure. We don't know how it will go. When it comes to defenders, they also have 5 attack drones units they can use anywhere they like during the game, and 5 ATGM points. When it comes to the equipment, this is something well special when it comes to this system, because this game uses battles of 21st century system, and in this system you can technically choose what kind of equipment your units are going to use. And in this game Polish regular units, I mean mechanized and armored, are allowed to use 3 types of equipment. With T-72 tanks, BMP-1s and 2S1 Gozdika Howitzer, or with PT-91, which is a Polish modification of T-72, BMP-1 and 2S1, or with Leopard 2A4, Rosomak, which is Polish wheeled infantry carrier, and Krab, which is Polish self-propelled Howitzer. And when it comes to this scenario, I'm going to use this set of equipment. Why? Because Poland has almost none of T-72s now, because most of them were sent at Ukraine, and a lot of PT-91s were sent at Ukraine as well. So these 2 sets are obsolete today, so only this one can be used. There are no sets with upcoming Korean and American tanks that are already coming to Poland. I think this should be updated someday. And when it comes to Russians, we have 2 sets of equipment possible, one with BMP-2 and T-72s, and one with BMP-3 and T-90s. I think I will use this second one because, well, Russians are stronger here, and I think this makes sense because, well, they lost a lot of T-72s at Ukraine, so I think they would rather use some of their newest tanks in this game. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the preparation for the game, and now let's take a look at the victory conditions. Well, we got 2 victory points for each city hex, or sorry, town hex. These are town hexes. Let me show you the remaining part of the board. We got 1 point for each village. These are these black dots, and we got 1 point for each hex of the highway, which is here. So these are victory conditions, and we have how many turns we have? Let me count. 1, 2. We have 9 turns for this scenario. So Russians have to attack swift. They have to use their numerical advantage, especially at the beginning of the game, because as for now they have 6 mechanized companies, while Poles have only one. So I think they are in pretty good shape at the beginning of the game. But, well, Poles can use the terrain, because as you can see, the terrain is pretty rough here. A lot of lakes, some rivers and woods, along with hills. So I think Poles might make use of this terrain to slow down possible Russian advance. We have one combat engineers unit, and I think their goal will be to blow down as many bridges as possible. I hope they will make it. Okay, that's all for preparation. Oh, there is one more thing I forgot about. Minefields. Polish player has two minefields. He can place them anywhere on board, and in the two players game, you never know where they are. Polish player only notes the hex, and then it is revealed during the game. But I am playing a solo game, so I think I will simply place them on the board. And I think that one minefield is going to be set up here, because this is definitely a way where Russians are going to attack through. And the other minefield, I'm thinking of placing it here. Okay. Oh, a very important thing. When you play two players game, all your units are marked as camouflaged. And they are revealed only when they are adjacent to the enemy units, or you are using some kind of scout units. Otherwise, they remain camouflaged for the bigger part of the game, so it is definitely harder to tell who is fighting where, till the moment where the fight starts. Okay, so I am starting turn 1. There are no air units so far. They are about to come later in the reinforcements. So Russians have initiative, and they are going to move first. So what I'm going to do, I will start with my two special forces units. They will move here, and they will try to drive Poles away from these crossroads. And when it comes to the Russian mechanized units, first, this battalion moves first. They are moving 1, 2, 3, and I think here Poles are going to fire at them with their drones, since they can see them now. So this is going to be a drone attack. Drones have a strength of 6, and Russians have BMP-3, and the BMP-3 has an armor of 2. So this is 6 minus 2, so it's 4. So I need to make a roll in the fire combat table. 6. This is 6. And now where did I put my rulebook with tables? Like always, I forgot. Oh yes, here it is. So this is 6 in the plus 4. This is 2. So Russian unit suffers 2 points loss because of this drone attack. It is first company of the 2nd battalion. So let me mark it. Okay, and now, if Russian player wants to continue this movement, he would have to suffer additional 1 point loss, because he was hit. So he decides to stop. He's not going to move any further. These drones are out of the game. Polish player has still 4 drones to use. And now another unit. 1, 2, 3. Let me check. They are moving through the clear terrain, and they are mechanized, so they spend 2 movement points. So it's 4, 6, and now here is the woods. 6 and woods 3. So 9, they can enter this hex normally. And now this unit, they move here, and they want to, and now they enter minefield. So we need to roll for the possible minefield losses. They have 7 points of strength, so we'll be using this verse. 6. Oh, they are hit. They suffer 1 point loss. So this is second battalion of this second company of the second battalion. 1 point loss for them. And headquarter is moving here. Okay, this battalion. They are moving 1, 2, 3, and now they have to roll for minefield. Okay, they were lucky, no losses for them, that's good. And this battalion, 1, 2, 3, now they know there are mines here, so 3, 6 and 9, and same goes to them, and their headquarter moves here. Okay, so that's all for the Russian movement. Next we have Polish counter-attack phase. In this phase, Polish player is allowed to move his units, but 1 hex only, and to attack any enemy units that these moved units would have in their zone of controls. But I don't think there is such an option for Poles now, so we are moving into the Russian combat phase, and Russian player is about to resolve his attacks. I will start here. I have 2 Russian Special Forces units here. One of them has 5 and one of them has 3. So they have total of 8 versus Polish 1. So this is 8 to 1. And since they are Special Forces and they are attacking alone, they get additional +4 modifier. So this is 8 to 1 plus 4, it is 12 to 1, so it is 10 to 1 because we cannot go any further. So it is 10 to 1, and now we have 9 to 1 because of the fortification, and as for woods, we have 2. So it's 8 to 1 and 7 to 1. Okay, so it's 7 to 1. Okay, pretty good roll for Russians. 7 to 1 and 4. This is B3, so defender has to retreat 3 hexes. 1, 2, 3. And attacker can pursue it. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2. You can move only 1 hex away from of the enemy retreat road. So that's my pursuit, and now let's calculate the losses. Russians had 8, so it's 7, 6, 10. -1 because of the woods, -1 because of the fortifications, so it's 2, 3. We don't use this +4, it is used only for combat, not for the losses. So it's 7 in the 2, 3, no losses for Poles, this is good. And now Poles, they had a strength of 1, and 1 because of the fortification, and +2 because of the woods, so it's 6, 10. It's 10, so Russians suffer 1 point loss. Okay, the next combat is here. These 3 companies are attacking this Polish platoon, and Poles are going to use their mortars to get support. Since this unit is on minefield, they can use only strength, half of their strength. So, these 2 units, each of them has, let me check, 7, so they have 14. 14 plus 3 and plus 3.5 is 17. So we have 17 versus 2. Why 2? Because they have 1, and these mortars have 2, and when you are supporting a defense, you can use only half of your support strength. So it is 1 plus 1, so it's 2, versus 17, so it is 8 to 1. 8 to 1, 9 to 1 because of the enemy headquarter, 8 to 1 because of the Polish headquarter, 7 to 1 because of the fortification, 6 to 1, 5 to 1 because of the woods, 4 to 1 because of the hill, and I think 3 to 1 3 to 1, 2 to 1 because of the river. So it is 2-1 for Russians. Let's make a roll. 8. 8 in the 2-1, it is nothing. Oh, both sides remain on their hexes. There is no retreat, no advance. This is bad for Russians because Poles managed to keep their position. And now let's calculate the losses. Russians had 16, so 17, so it's 16-20. And we have +1 because of the hit quarter, -1 because of the enemy hit quarter, -1 because of the enemy in fortification, -2 because of the woods, -1 because of the hill, and -2 because of the river, so it is 1. 9. No losses for Poles. And now Russian losses. Poles had 2, +1 because of the fortification, +1 because of the hill, +2 because of the woods, +2 because of the river, +1 because of their hit quarter, and -1 because of the enemy hit quarter. So this might be bad for Russians. 6, 2 points. So Russian units are suffering 2-point losses. No good. Okay, and last one battle. They have 7 and they have 3 because they are attacking from the minefield. So it is 10 versus 1, so it's 10-1. And 10-1, now we have -1 because of the fortification and -1 because of the hill. So it is 8-1. Okay, this sounds good for Russians. Oh, and the roll is pretty good as well. 4 in the 8-1 is B3. So defender has to retreat 3 hexes. 1, 2, 3. And attacker might pursue it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Russians made it. Let's make a roll for losses. Russians had 10, -2, and +1 because of the hit quarter, so it's 4, 5. 5 Poles suffer no losses, and now Poles, they have 1, +1 because of the fortification, +1 because of the hill, and -1 because of the enemy hit quarter, so it's 2, 3. 9, no losses for Russians either. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the Russian combat phase. Next we have to check for Russian supply phase. When it comes to the supply, unit is in supply when it is in the 5 hexes range from its battalion hit quarter. So let's check. As for Russians, they are both in supply, and here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 2 units are not in supply. Okay, they went pretty too far, and because of that they are not in supply. This is not something very dramatic. Because when unit is not in supply, it doesn't mean that this is going to be removed from the board or something like this. No, it means that till the end of the next supply phase, its strength is reduced in half when it comes to attack. So they will simply have to wait until their supply trucks arrive and provide them additional ammo, fuel, etc., etc. Okay, that's all when it comes to the Russians. Oh, you may ask about these 2 special forces units. Well, they are independent units, they don't care about supply. Now, this is Polish phase, and what Poles are going to do. First, we have a Polish air phase, but we have no air units, so next we are moving into the Polish movement phase. So, what I'm going to do. I think the first thing that I'm going to do is to use my anti-tank unit to fire at Russians, because I am finally allowed to do so, and this is something I would love to do. So, I am firing with the 2 hexes range at this Russian unit. So my strength is 7. This is pretty good, and Russian armor of this BMP-3 is 2. So I have 7 minus 2 is 5. So I am rolling on the fire combat table. Oh, the roll is pretty bad. We have 10. 10 in the 5. This is 1 point loss only. Oh, I expected something better actually. This is 2-2. Okay, and I lost one of my ATGMs. I have I have still 4 of them. Next, my infantry unit platoon retreats here, so they will be able to get some cover with this fortification. Next, this is my reserve, but so far I think that since Russians made their way here, it would be useful to use it. Okay, so I am moving 1, 2, 3, 4, and now this is pretty important to remember how many movement points you spent, so I will use my die. So I spent 4 movement points, and now when I'm here, I am going to fire with my from my guns to this unit because mechanized, motorized, armored units are allowed to do so. So Polish mechanized unit has attack on 3 on the 2 hexes range. So they are firing with 3 on them, and Russians have an armor of 2. So this is 3 versus 2. So this is +1. So I'm firing with +1. This is a miss. So I spent 2 movement points. 6. Where is 6? And I spent 1 ammo point. So my unit still has a couple of ammo. Yeah, they still have. But now Russians are allowed to answer, since they were attacked. So now they can fire back at me, and they are going to do so. They are firing with strength of, let me check, Russian BMP2. They have strength of 3 on the 2 hexes range. My armor is 3, so it's 0, and I am in the woods, so it is -2. So they are firing with -2. 5 with -2. I think this is a miss, but let me check. Yeah, they would need 3 or 4 to hit. Okay, Poles are firing again. 6. Okay, I think now this is a hit, because I can fire as many times as I like, as long as I have movement points and ammo. So, it was 3 versus 2, so it was +1, +1 and 6. It is 1 hit. Okay, Russian unit is hit. They have 2-2. And they are hit. Russians are answering. Again, miss. Okay, and Russians have 3. Why 3? Because they spent 1 ammo point to perform attack during their phase, and they couldn't get ammo back because they are out of supply. And Poles have 2 and 8 movement points. Okay, next Poles are going to fire again with +1. 5. They scored another hit on Russians. They are firing pretty good. So this is, now they have 10 movement points spent, and they spent 4 of their ammo. Sorry, 3 of their ammo. Russians are about to return fire. Let me reroll. 4? No, not enough. So this is a miss. Okay, and now Poles still they still have some ammo, because Polish unit has let me check, 2, 4, 6. Okay, they have 10 ammo, so I think I will fire again twice. 7 and 4. 7 and 4 with +1. These are 2 hits, so Russian unit suffers 2 points loss. And Russians are about to fire again, but let me mark this Polish ammo being spent. So it's 5. Russians will try to answer. No, they don't. They don't wanna. They want to keep their ammo because they are out of supply, so they won't get their ammo back. So that's all for Polish firing, and now Polish unit will move here. Okay, so that's all for the movement here, and now there. I think I will fortify this platoon and I will send them these snipers, 1, 2, 3, to provide some help. Snipers are particularly effective against leg units, and since these special forces units are leg units, so I think these snipers might do the trick. Okay, what's next? This Polish unit is going to stay here, I believe. Yeah, I think let them stay, and I will join them with these combat engineers. Hope they will they will provide some solid defense on this position. And now I think I might. I'm thinking of these special forces unit. They are protecting this road where Russians might attack. They are not going to attack now, I believe, but there is still a danger that they might move some of their units here. So I think I will keep this unit there. Okay, so that's all for the Polish movement. Next, we have Russian counterattack. Well, Russians have a little options to perform any counterattacks, because you cannot counterattack when your unit is already in the enemy zone of control. So, not much of counterattack for Russians, and we are moving to the combat phase. We have one Polish attack here, because you have to attack all the enemy units that are in your zone of control, as long as your units are not fortified. So, I am attacking here, and I have 5 ammo points, so I will spend 2 of them to fire again twice at the Russians. Because you can fire on the enemy units that are on the adjacent hexes only during the combat phase. So I have 4, Russians have 2, so I have +2, 5 and 10. I think this is 1 hit and 1 miss. It is +2. 5 it is 1 and 10 it is a miss, so Russians suffer 1 point loss again. And now they have okay, so that's all. Russians cannot fire anymore in return, because they have only 4 points left and they have 4 ammo spent. This means that they cannot fire anymore. So let's resolve a combat. And Polish unit has 11 points of strength and Russian unit has 4. So this is 3-1 for Poles. And let's make a roll. It's 3-1 and 9. 3-1 and 9, it is B1. So Russian unit has to retreat 1 hex. And they have 5 ammo spent because they were involved in combat. So I need to find a 5. And Poles have 6. Okay, so I will take this one and place here. Now, do Poles want to pursue it? No, they don't want. They want to stay in the village. So, let's calculate the losses. Poles had 11, so it's 11, 15. And 12. Wow, this means that Russian unit suffers 2 points loss. This is bad. And Polish losses. 10. Russians have 4. So, Polish unit suffers 1 point loss. Not good, but, well, at last we managed to stop them for a while. This is 3-15. Okay, so now we have a Polish supply phase, and since Polish unit is in supply, it regains all its ammo. And this concludes turn 1. We are moving into turn 2. Let me check if we have any reinforcements in the turn 2. I believe not, but I would like to check. No, first of them are coming in the turn 3. Okay, let's carry on with turn 2, and we are moving right into the Russian movement phase. So I will move this Special Forces Unit 1 and 2, because special forces do not care about terrain, save to the terrain which is impassable. Otherwise, special forces are simply paying 1 movement point per hex. Well, they are elite soldiers, moving pretty good, and they don't have much issues with terrain. Okay, and next, here they are going to attack again this hex, and here. Well, they have problems because they are out of supply. They will be in supply soon, but so far I would like to move my headquarter here, so I will make sure that they will get a supply. As for them, I will fortify this unit, because it is, well, not very wise to attack when you are out of supply. And this unit will also get a fortification. As for this company, what I'm going to do with them, I think I will move here. Do I want to fire at this palace? No, I don't want to. I will remain in fortification. So that's all for now, and time to go with Russian attacks. Okay, I will start here. I have 8 versus 2. So it's 8 versus 2, it's 4 to 1. And I have +4 because I am attacking with special forces only. So it is it was 4 to 1 +4, so it's 8 to 1. And now it is 7 to 1 because of the fortification, 6 to 1, 5 to 1 because of the woods, and 4 to 1 because of the hill. So it is 4 to 1 again. And one more thing. No, they are not in the range of their headquarter. So it is 4 to 1. Oh, looks like Polis made it. 11, it is nothing. So they remain on their hexes. This is good. So now they managed to stop this Russian Spetsnaz. Okay, so let's roll for losses. Russians had 8. So it is 610. And terrain reduces this to 1. So let's roll for Polish losses. 4, no losses for Poles. And now Russian losses. Poles had 2, so it's 2-3, +1 because of the fortification, +1 because of the hill, +2 because of the woods, so it's 60-20. Oh my, this is great roll, because it is 3, and because we had the snipers here, this means that Russian losses are about to be even higher, I believe. Let me check if I am correct, but I think that snipers give us additional losses. Yeah, we got +1. So Russians are losing 4 strength points. So Polish snipers definitely did their job well. Each Russian unit suffers 2-point losses. Okay, that was bad for Russians. Let's see what are we going to do here. These two companies and this one are attacking this unit, and they are still on the minefield, so they will have their strength reduced into half. So we have 14 plus 3, it's 17. 17 versus 2, and +1 because of these mortars, so we have 17 versus 3. So this is 6 to 1. And now 7 to 1 because of the Russian headquarter, 6 to 1 because of the Polish headquarter, 5 to 1 because of the fortification, 4 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the woods, and 2 to 1, 1 to 1 because of the river. So it is 1 to 1 and 7 in the 1 to 1 A1. Attacker has to retreat 1 hex. So Poles are doing their job well, fine. definitely slowing down or even driving Russians away. Okay, so time for calculate losses. Russians had 17, plus 1 because of the hit quarter, minus 1 because of the enemy hit quarter, minus 1 because of the hill, minus 1 because of the fortification, and minus 1, 2 because of the river. So another minus 2 because of the woods. So it is 1, 4, no losses for Poles. And now Poles. Poles had 3. So plus 1 because of the hit quarter, plus 1 because of the fortification, plus 1 because of the hill, plus 2 because of the woods, and plus 2 because of the river, and minus 1 because of the enemy hit quarter. So it's 26, 30, and 10. Okay, another great roll. We have 10. So Russians are suffering 3 points loss. So each unit of this Russian battalion suffers 1 point loss. Okay, so that's good for Russians. And now let's check for supply. These units are in supply, so they get their ammo back. And that's all when it comes to the Russian actions. Time for Poles. What Poles are going to do? I think I will move my mortars from here, because now these special forces might try to attack them and it would be very bad. So I will move my mortars here on the same hex with hit quarter. As for the other Polish units, I think I will fire at these Russians from my mechanized infantry. If I wouldn't fire, I would be able to fortify them. So this is the question: if I want to fire or do I want to fortify my units? And if they are fortified, well, they would be better when it comes to defense. But I think I will try to score some hits on these Russians. So I will fire on this unit because it already suffered some losses. So maybe I will be allowed to destroy it. Now, how many strength points I have? Let me check. Polish unit. Okay, I have 5. I want to fire 5 times. My strength is 4. Their defense is 2, so I have plus 2, and they are in the fortification, so I have plus 1. So 5 times with plus 1. So I will score my hits on 7 or less. 1. Oh, let's reroll. 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 hits. So this Russian unit suffers 3 hits. It is still alive, but it has only 1 strength point left. And now Russians are about to fire in return. They have a fire of strength of 3 versus my armor of 3, so it's 0. But since I am in the village, it is minus 1. So they are firing with this unit only 1 time, because it has only 1 strength point left. So it is 1, and this is a miss. Okay, I need Poles to mark that they spent 5 points. Where do I have a 5? Okay. And I think that's all when it comes to Poles. I'm not going to do anything else so far. I'm happy with my positions. So that's all, not much else to do. And Polish supply phase, I am getting my ammo back. So we are moving into turn 3. Okay, we are starting with turn 3, and this is the first turn when some reinforcements are about to arrive. Still no air units, so no air phase for Russians. And we are moving right into the Russian movement phase. And in this turn, Russians are about to get their tank battalion. There are 4 tank companies and headquarters of their brigade. So I will move headquarters here, since it has not much stuff to do with it. As for tanks, well, this is another story. 1, 2, 3, and I think Poles will try to stop them with the drones. So these are T-90s, and they have armor of 6 or 7. Okay, they are pretty strong. And Polish drones have an attack strength of 6. So it is -1. Okay, maybe it is not the best idea. 7 with the -1. I think this is a miss. Yeah, I would need 4 or less to score a hit. So this is a miss. Well, it was a waste of drones. And Russian tanks are moving forward here. Okay. I have 3 more tank companies to use. 1, 2, 3, 6. As for hills, how many points do I have to spend for moving through up the hill? +2. So 6, 8, 9, and 9. I spent 9 movement points. So now I'm going to fire at this Polish unit, and Russians have their strength of 5 on the 2 hexes range, and Poles have armor of 3 +1 because of the village, so it is 4. So it's 5 - 4. Yeah, am I correct? Yes, 5 - 4, so it's +1 for Russians. This is a miss, so now they have 11. Where is 1? So it's 11. And they spent 1 ammo. Poles are not about to fire at them. They don't have... their guns are too weak to do any damage. So they are firing again. 7. With +1. I think this is a hit now. Yeah, this is a hit. So Polish unit suffers 1 point loss. Where did I put my pencil? It's here. This is 3rd company. And Russians are firing for the 3rd time. It is 8. This is a miss. So now they have 13. Where is 3? 13. And 3 points. And they are firing 1 more time. Again a miss. Okay, Poles are defending pretty well. So this is 4 and this is 15. And they are, well, tired of firing ineffectively, so they are simply moving here, and their goal will be to attack Poles in the direct combat. Okay, I will move another Russian company in the similar fashion. They are moving here, and they will fire at Poles 4 times. So a hit, okay. I need to check if this is not a 2 points hit. Yeah, this is 2 points hit, so Poles suffer 3 points. A hit and a hit. Okay, we scored 4 hits, 3 of them with 1 point and 1 of them with 2 points. So Polish unit suffers 5 points. Okay, this is going to hurt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Russian tank company moves here. They fired 4 times, so let's mark them properly. And since they entered this hex, this Polish ATGM wants to fire at them. And Polish ATGMs have a strength of 7 versus their armor of 7, so it's 0. and this is a hit, so this tank is hit once. I have to reduce Polish ATGMs by 1, and Russian Tank Company 4 suffers 1 point loss. Still, they are pretty strong, so they don't have to worry about it much. Okay, I have one more company. I think I will keep it in reserve, and I will move my headquarters here. Okay, as for these mechanized units, they are which of them is so weak? Second company. Okay, I will retreat this unit. I don't want this unit to be destroyed. So they are moving here, and they are moving here as well. They will try to drive these Poles out of this place. Okay, and now here I will gather all my 3 companies on this hex to launch my attack, and these special forces will still try to make their way through this hex. Okay, so that's all for the Russian movement. Let's go to the Russian combat. Oh, first of all, we have Polish counterattack phase, of course, but, well, there is not much chance for Poles to perform any counterattacks. Let's start with a combat. We have 15 versus... How many this special forces unit has? Polish special forces 4. So it's 15 against 4, so it's 4 to 1. 4 to 1 and 3 to 1 because of the village, 2 to 1, 1 to 1 because of the river. So it is 1 to 1 and 5 in the 1 to 1. It is B1. So defender has to retreat 1 hex. Russians are making their way through the river, and now let's make a roll for losses. Russians had 15, so it's 11-15, -1 because of the fortification, and -2 because of the river, so it's 2-3, and 10 Polish unit suffers 1 loss. Okay, and now Poles, they have 4. +1 because of the fortification, +2 because of the river, so it's 60-20, and 7, only 1 point loss for Russian tanks. So Russian tanks made it quite well. This is first tank company. And next we have here, and this is going to be, well, a bit more complicated. Each Russian tank fires 3 times at Poles, so it's going to be 6 shots with the strength of 6 versus Polish defense of 4. 3 of the unit and +1 because of the village. So it is +2 and 6 shots with +2. This is 1 hit. This is a miss. This is a miss. So first 3 shots and 1 hit, and other 3 shots, 1 hit, 2 second hit, and a miss. So each Russian unit shot totally of 7 times in this turn. And Polish unit suffers 3 point loss. Okay, this is going to hurt now. Okay, and now let's resolve the combat. So each this one has 15 and this one has 14, so they have 19. 19 versus 6 now. So 19 versus not 19 but 29. 29 versus 6 is 5 to 1. 6 to 1 because of the Russian headquarters, and 5 to 1 because of the village. So it is 5 to 1 for Russians, and 7. 7 in the 5 to 1, it is B2. So Polish unit has to retreat 2 hexes. 1, 2. They spent 1 ammo because they were fighting, and also each Russian unit spent 1 ammo because of the fighting, of the being involved in combat. I should mark it here as well, but well, they don't have any chance to to fire anymore in this turn, so I think it doesn't make much, it won't make much use. And Russian tanks are moving here. These Russian tanks are moving 1 and 2 here. Okay, so that's all. Now let's check for losses. Russians had 29, so it's 26-30, -1 because of the village and +1 because of the headquarter. So it's 26-30 and 10. Oh, 3 points loss for Poles. I think we are going to say goodbye to this company soon. As for Poles, they had 6, +1 because of the village, -1 because of the enemy headquarter, so it's 6-10, and 7, 1 point loss for Russian tanks. Not much, since they are pretty strong. Okay, next combat goes here. We have 1st and 3rd company of the 2nd battalion. So they have 6 and 7. So it's 13. 13 versus 2. 13 versus 2 is 6-1. 6-1. 7-1 because of the headquarter. 6-1 because of the fortification. 5-1, 4-1 because of the woods. So it is 4-1 and 10. 4-1 and 10. It is B1. So defender has to retreat 1 hex and attacker performs pursuit. Now let's calculate the losses. Russians had 13, so it's 11-15, +1 because of the headquarter, -1 because of the fortification, -2 because of the woods, so it's 4-5, 7, 1 loss on Polish side. So this is 1st platoon, and 1st platoon suffers 1 point loss. And Russian losses, Poles had 2, +1, +2, and -1, 6-10. 6-10 and 6, 1 point loss for Russians, not much. Hope that it will be better. Okay, next here. I'm going to use the entire battalion, and they are not attacking from the minefield, so they will have their strength full. And now they have 19. So it is 19 plus versus 2, and I will use these mortars, so it's 3. So it's 19 versus 3, so it is 6-1. 6-1. 7-1 because of the headquarter, and 6-1 because of the fortification, 5-1 because of the hill, 4-1, 3-1 because of the woods, 2-1, 1-1 because of the river, and 1-2 because of the Polish headquarter. So this is 1-2. Doesn't sound very good. 11, A2. Russians have to retreat 2 hexes, so Poles are still holding this position fine. Okay. And now losses. Russians had the 16-12, but they are going to use only 1 because of this so many terrain modifiers. 7, no losses for Russians, for Poles. And now Russian losses. Poles had 3, 1 fortification, 1 hill, 1 headquarter, 1-2 woods, 1-2 river, and -1 enemy headquarter, 26-30, 8, 2 losses on the Russian side. So Russian battalion is definitely bleeding, and Poles are holding this position. And finally, Russian Spetsnaz. I think these 2 units suffered some losses before. Yes, they now have total strength of 7. So it's 7 versus 2, so it's 3-1, +4 because of the special forces attack, so it's 7-1, 6-1 because of the fortification, 5-1 because of the hill, 4-1, 3-1 because of the woods. So it's 3-1, and 7. I think this is enough. Yeah, B1, Poles have to retreat 1 hex. So Russians finally drive Poles away of these woods, which is good for them. And let's check for losses. Russians had 7 hills, fortification woods, so it's 1. No losses for Poles. And Poles had 2 hills, fortification, woods, 60-20, 11, 2. And because we have sniper, it's 3. So Russians have to pay dearly for moving here. 1, 2, 3. Alright, that's all when it comes to the Russian attacks. And next we have to check for Russian supply. As for tanks, Russian headquarters is here, tank headquarters is here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they are fine, they regain their ammo. And well, they are definitely out of range of their headquarters, so I should mark them that they spent 1 ammo for combat and they are out of supply. As for these 2 units, their headquarters is here, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, they are in range. So that's all when it comes to Russians. Time for Poles. Polish player still has no reinforcements, so he will have to fight with everything he has. I think the problem might be here, because these units are defending pretty fine, but they might be surrounded easily by these Russians. So I think I will blow this bridge with my combat engineers, and next I am going to move 1, 2, 3 here. And what I'm going to do next? They have to retreat. I think they don't make much standing here and defending themselves, because they would be destroyed. Or maybe, well, let's try to defend maybe 1 more turn. This unit, well, these tanks are pretty dangerous, so let's retreat deeper into the woods. They will provide some protection. Now this special forces unit is going to move 1, because they are leaving enemy zone of control, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, what's next? Here. Oh, I think this town is lost. I mean, the Russians are about to encircle me very easily. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, why I am moving this way like this? Because this territorial defense force are moving just like special forces. They are fighting on their own terrain, they know so well, so they don't have to spend additional movement points. They spend 1 movement point no matter what kind of terrain they are moving through. And now them. Do I want to defend this position, or do I want to retreat? I think I will rather retreat. So 1 for leaving enemy zone of control, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's the Polish move. I hope I will get some reinforcements soon. I think I have to wait till the turn 5 for the first Polish reinforcements. So, well, this is going to be tough. At last, Russians have no combat engineers, so they won't be able to remove this minefield. Well, this is the only good thing. So that's all for Poles. Now I can they can remove this ammo, because when there is no hit quarter at the beginning of the turn, unit might get its ammo back as long as it has a link with its board's edge. So this unit has a link to its board edge, so it can get its ammo back. And that's all when it comes to the Polish movement. Poles are not going to attack anywhere, and Russians, well, they have no options to perform any counterattacks. So this concludes turn 3, and I think this is a good moment to call it a day for this part of the video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.